Still a little bit cold. Oh. Did you just wake up? Yes. Yes. How did you know? I'm back. How did you know that I just woke up? Can you tell from how I look? Hold on. I think that's better. Listen, I overslept only a little, and it's okay now. We're gonna enjoy our politics now, like God foretold that we should. We're gonna be talking about tariffs and all those other things that we all love. You know, we're gonna be talking about China, and we're gonna be talking about all these wonderful days when Trump decided to be like, yay, I'm gonna freeze the aid to save my ass. Okay? I'm totally not doing it because the market is, the stock market is in free fall and it's all going to hell. Did you do your HRT? Oh yeah, I'm about to do it now. I overslept actually. Not only did I oversleep, but also while I was sleeping, Fido did a poopy. Doggy did a poopy inside. So I had to clean it up. Okay, now I took my HRT. Alright, now I took my HRT. Let us check the news cycles. Let's wait for more people to come to the stream. In the meantime, maybe I'll take a look at that video that I've been wanting to tackle. So stupid. Whatever. Whatever, Donald. So how are we feeling right now? As it seems like things are pretty interesting right now, aren't they? I should probably say that I'm live or something. At least on my own server, because it seems like nobody looks at announcements. Or at least this is what fake Kyle Parker has led me to believe. I'm bitter about it. Dr. Johns. I'm embittered about that fact. There were quite a few things that I wanted to check out. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, X. Oh my gosh. The famous thing that the most beautiful word, X. What a beautiful platform that is, huh? Oh yeah, we're gonna read the Trump thing. It's gonna be great. Also, I'm gonna eat some grapes. To add energy, so I'm gonna be right back. Also, did Dr. Jones go away? Dr. Mike versus 20 anti-vaxxers? Is that a thing? Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna watch a bit of this to warm us up. I'm gonna warm us up. Hello, Greater Ain't. Hello, everyone. How are you, Greater Ain't? I'm gonna go get grapes, and then I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back with the grapes. Grapes are good. Grapes are healthy. Fruit is healthy, and grapes are fruit, allegedly, so... I'm gonna be watching a little bit of this. Struggling with what? What are you struggling with? Well, I'm struggling with my schedule, but that's okay. Here you go. We're gonna watch a bit of this for a warm-up thing. Because I'm interested in the anti-vax arguments. I'm gonna be back with grapes, because you cannot watch this without grapes. If you have grapes at home, take them out. Enjoy your grapes till they last. All right. Should work on my self-esteem. And you too should work on your self-esteem. We should all work on our self-esteem. It's in the dumpster. You can feel it from my soul. But it's okay. My self-esteem has taken a big amplification because I just cleaned up a big dump. And every time you clean up a big dump, your self-esteem soars. Of course, I shouldn't allow a situation in which my dog takes a huge dump inside of the house, but you know what? I'll take advantage of the positives, of the self-esteem that it builds. Alright. Let's watch just a few of these anti-vaxxers, laugh a bit. It's gonna build up momentum for this stream. And once the momentum is here, we're gonna do a few political topics. And then I'm gonna figure out how to do a schedule which will allow me to do a gaming stream during the day, a politics stream during the night, all the things that I have to do outside of streaming, and sleep. It's gonna be a journey. It's good not to be committed to just watch one streamer. Wait, how many streamers do you watch besides me? Support the small streamer.
Get vaccinated with Jesus.
What? That's the first sentence? Get vaccinated with Jesus? What the hell does that mean? Inject Jesus into your veins? This is much better than I thought it would be, actually. I expected this to be boring, but this is a good start. This is a promising start. I'm already feeling myself getting more and more energetic, which was the point. The point was to warm me up, and I am feeling mighty warmed up right now. Okay, let's go. Let's go back to Jesus. Hello, Jordan.
He's not necessarily anti-vaccine, but he wants safe vaccines.
Yeah, so I'm pointing out that I think RFK Jr. is a threat to public health. You're saying he's being hypocritical.
Yeah, he's being hypocritical.
Absolutely.
And
Do you know who the number one hypocrites are? Healthcare providers.
The reality is, if we don't get vaccinated with Jesus, we will face God on Judgment Day.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
Dr. Mikhail Varshavsky, better known as Dr. Mike across social media. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician who makes content online improving health literacy.
Wait, is Dr. Mike Eastern European? Whatever, let's continue. Let's not interrogate the backstory of Dr. Mike. Let's interrogate his battle against anti-vaxxers. We're not here today to rediscover Dr. Mike's roots. That's not why we're
And
here.
today, I'm surrounded by 20 vaccine skeptics.
Vaccine skeptics. The fact that vaccine skepticism exists baffles me. Every single time. Every single time. Just like from the very beginning, I keep being baffled at the whole anti-vax thing.
My first claim is that anti-vaccine lies cost lives.
That is completely true. I don't know how anybody could disagree with that. Well, maybe you will disagree with your skeptic, an anti-vaccination skeptic, but apart from that, I have no clue how you could disagree with that. My faith is my immune system. Sounds like a bit like Warhammer 40k-ish. It does, doesn't it? I hate anti-vaccine movement. And just the general suspicion on basic facts in medicine on the basis of fuck all religion. What? Like, I'm so baffled that the movement even exists and gained any sort of traction. Like, when I was small, very, very small, I was basically taught how vaccines work, you know, the basics. It's a dead, you know, thing in your body. Your body fights against it, gains immunity against it. That's it. And ever since I heard that explanation, I was like, oh yeah, of course. Obviously. Duh. And ever since then, it was so obvious that it baffles me. Every single time I hear about the anti-vaccination movement, I'm baffled anew that it exists and that it gained traction. Apparently it makes a little bit of sense when it comes to minority communities in the US because they were experimented on with medical stuff. So there's a distrust there that was created through that. But other than that, I have no clue how vaccination skepticism is a thing. Oh, and yeah, it did gain. It is a movement in Poland as well, just so we're clear. Poland is not free of that weird, baffling movement. It's not some US exclusive, silly thing. This craziness exists everywhere. Basically, some scientist dude wanted to sell his vaccine, so you made up some crap about the other competitors and it spiraled down from there. Actually, it was something about a woman wanting to sue for money a company or something. She hired a doctor that wrote an article to a prestigious medical magazine about how vaccination causes autism. He did it, he printed it, and then doctors around the world looked at it and were like, what the hell? And debunked it, did studies and debunked it. But the damage was done, even though the super prestigious medical magazine retracted the article, the damage was done, and the myth that vaccination causes autism is prevalent to this day. That's basically the TLDR of how the anti-vaccination movement started. Because a prestigious medical magazine bended its principle a little bit and just printed an article based on unproven claims. I see at my work lots of vaccine and scoliosis exemptions in documents due to religious reasons. The scoliosis exemption cracks me up because, as far as I'm aware, you're just looking at your posture. Why wouldn't you want your child to have good spine health? Because, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't have an answer. I honestly have no answer. My mom had a really hilarious story about the whole faith-based thing. When my mom went to a pharmacy and said, I'd like to buy some contraception pills, you know, birth control pills. And the pharmacy lady was like, I'm not gonna sell that to you. It's against my beliefs. It's against my faith. And my mom said, okay, all right, it's against your faith. I'm just gonna take my cat that's in heat. She meows all the time, day and night, and she needs these pills. I'm just gonna take her here. I'm gonna set her here, and she's gonna meow here for her religious beliefs. And she sold that to her. Okay. Let's continue.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Excited to talk about health.
I just had a baby, 7 months old. And, you know, my baby, I was like, no, I'm not getting any vaccines. The doctors came in, they made me feel like a very bad mother for not doing that, right?
I mean, you are. Maybe that's because you are. If you skip your vaccination schedule, you're a bad mother. What can I tell you? The truth hurts, doesn't it?
I was very pressured. And then I had a family friend who had a baby at the same time, was a few months in, gave vaccines to the baby, and the baby had seizures and has had seizures since. And I've also had a friend who I went on a
Oh wow, anecdote. I had a friend, wow.
mission trip with, and this pastor was totally healthy, two young girls, and this pastor literally got a heart attack out of nowhere. And the only thing was he took the vaccine. And there's many cases.
Wow. Of course, correlation equals causation, as always. You know that. I'm eating grapes. You know that famous saying that correlation equals causation? Wait, babies aren't given vaccines. I'm not actually sure what the vaccination schedule is. Some might be actually. Some vaccines might be given to babies for some there are some baby-related diseases that you can get. Hello, Kiskara. Let me check actually. US vaccination schedule. I mean, when you're like 7 months, you're not exactly a newborn anymore. There you go. Birth, 1 month, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. Yeah, there are certain vaccinations that can give babies that are a few months. It seems like there are certain situations in which kids are given first dose of certain vaccinations at birth. Respiratory syncytial virus, hepatitis B. First dose birth. I'm not sure how prevalent this is. I'm not sure how often this happens, but to be fair, the last baby I was there for was over 20 years ago. But yeah, I think if you ignore the vaccination schedule, then you are pretty much a bad mother in my book. We're already at the point where people are fine with letting their kids die of measles. There was a whole article about a lady who was like, nah, I can just make a new one. Wait, why? What is this? What is this Omni-Man, weird, Viltrumite? I can always start again. Make a new kid. That sounded horrible in Invincible. And it just sounds gross in real life. Religion gets way too much leniency. You wonder, stupid behavior rears its head, I know. I mean, it's not just religion. Often people just, I don't know, people can just replace religion with moral belief. And that is also considered valid reasoning. They're like, I cannot sell you this because of my my morals don't allow me to save your life or to sell you this medicine. There are a lot of humans who would agree with the Viltrumites. I guess so. Hello, Ivory Bluestone. That is weird, okay? The whole, I can just start again. Make a new kid. Also, if you have an Amazon primer, then why not give me your primer? Okay? The internet might die and then Twitch might die. Lucy, Omni-Man is based like Homelander. You wouldn't get it. I think Omni-Man is more based than Homelander because he's not as unstable. My lady, that's so true. It's like that story, like one time I lived in darkness, faithless, not seeing the true light of the God Emperor. But when I start to believe all that suffering is not worth it. True. There are parents that have a second kid just to use as an organ farm to... Oh, Jesus Christ. Is that true? You can still sub even if Twitch stream is dead, right? Yes, you can. But I don't think it's dead right now, right? I have no Prime. Oh. Also, always just consider joining this page. I think it was an Atlantic article, so it's paywalled. Oh. I'm gonna need to somehow make enough money to be able to buy those paywalled articles. It's just crazy how that goes. Also, chat, if your mom or roommate has a Prime, that's true. Yes, I will also get a kid when I have a bad organ and use its plasma to keep me younger. Oh my gosh.
Just like that.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the birth of a 7-month-old. The fact that anyone made you feel bad in the healthcare system, I feel like is a failure on us in the healthcare system, so I'm sorry that happened to you. In healthcare, it's very difficult to predict the future because there are so many unknowns and there's so many variables in healthcare.
It's like my friend. My friend has a channel, okay? I'm gonna advertise my friend's YouTube channel now. In fact, maybe we'll watch a video of hers. It's MC Kwadrat. Okay? Okay, we're not gonna watch a whole. Okay? She's a Vietnamese, Polish YouTuber. It's basically like the Polish Vsauce. And she did a comprehensive video about vaccination. She has 763,000 subscribers as well. And I had a point.
Things that are a lot that are outside of our control. And we try to do the best with the limited amounts that we can control. In
Wait, hold on.
healthcare, it's very difficult to predict the future.
Oh yeah. Basically what she explained was the simple rule, which I guess has to be repeated time and time and time again. And that rule is, this channel is mostly in Polish, so I'm not sure how many people can watch it though. Listen, she's been doing this for over 10 years. Like, when she started, her channel was small and her mom was very unsupportive of her YouTube. She said that she was wasting time. She used to cry about it. And now she has over 700,000 subscribers. And now she has adults coming to her and saying, I've watched you since I was a kid. And now I'm an adult. And I still think your channel is awesome. But anyway, she explained a very simple rule that correlation does not equal causation. Even if you take a vaccine, okay? Let's go with seizures. Even if you take a vaccine and 5 seconds later, you get seizures after taking the vaccine. It does not follow that the seizures were caused by the vaccines any more than if you take the vaccine, you go out of the clinic and get get hit by a car right after getting out of the clinic. It doesn't then follow that, oh my God, the vaccine caused me to be hit by a car, okay? It's exactly the same with any health things that happen after you take the vaccine. You still have to, even if something does actually happen after you take a vaccine, any sort of negative health thing, you still actually have to establish that a vaccine caused it. Does that make sense? Like, it does not automatically follow that the vaccine has caused it. Believe it or not, it can just be a coincidence that the vaccination has been administered and the thing just happened soon after. There was a quote about how the truth is always paywall, but the lies are always free. That is true. Most anti-vaxxers just turn off recency bias. I know. That is a very bad thing to do. Because then you might as well say that me being run over by a car was caused by vaccines. You know?
Because there are so many unknowns and there's so many variables in healthcare. There are things that are a lot that are outside of our control. And we try to do the best with the limited amounts that we can control. Mm-hmm. So when we see two things happen simultaneously in healthcare, sometimes we think they have caused one another. But unless we see a pattern of that happening...
There you go. He just said that what I said. I just explained this and literally seconds later he talks about it. I did not pre-watch this, okay? I'm just a genius.
Over and over again on a large scale,
Right.
It's more likely that this is just a coincidence of things happening at the same time. For example, I have a friend of mine who's a physician who...
There you go. I did also say that it can just be a coincidence.
...vaccinates children very regularly. And they were about to give a child the vaccine, and before giving the vaccine, the child had a seizure. They went on and had more seizures throughout their life and ended up actually dying at a very young age because of a seizure disorder. The vaccine was never given. Had that happened 2 minutes later, what do you think would have been in the mother's mind and in the father's mind in that situation, other than, I definitely think that vaccine caused that problem. But it could have just as easily happened before, which it did, and the vaccine wasn't responsible. So it's very difficult when two things happen at the same time to be able to make an exact reason as to if that's what happened to cause it.
Yeah.
So what we do is we admit that there's safety issues with vaccines.
Right.
They're not 100% safe.
They're not, but there's a whole chart, which by the way, my friend in her YouTube video presented as well. There's a whole chart comparing negative effects of taking the vaccine versus the negative effects of not taking the vaccine, okay? For various illnesses. And the negatives of not taking vaccines so heavily outweigh the minuscule negatives that happen to a handful of people that it's no contest, okay? It's not even a question. You're telling me that Elon Musk's dad doesn't admire Putin because the article wasn't paywalled? Get out of here. There's also a eugenics issue around vaccine skeptics, like autism. It's as bad as death. Lucy, do you prefer green grapes or red grapes? Red? Aren't they more purple than red? I like all grapes. I'm not a grape racist. I'm not a... Okay, I almost said a weird word, but I'm not a... I don't discriminate against types of grapes. I like them all equally. I will eat them all, without exception.
Nothing in life is 100% safe. Driving or walking here today is not 100% safe. I could have a heart attack right now. Cannot predict it. But what we can do is try to do the best that we can with the information that we have.
You've been voted out by the majority.
Do you like cherry? I do like cherry. When I was small, I could not eat gluten. So there were a lot of food products that I just could not eat. And I could not drink milk, I think, when I was very small. Lactose intolerant and gluten. So I ate a lot of fruit when I was small. A lot of a fruit diet. So I've grown to like a lot of different fruits.
Please return to your seat.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This whole race to the chair is very weird. I would not even bother. I hate stuff like that. Racing to the chair. Mangoes are the best. You're right, Greater Ain't. Wow, you're right. Mangoes are the best fruit. Mangoes are the royalty of fruit. Someone's going to slip and fall. True. If only one of them tripped. Wow, those schlicks. Wow. True though. Unfortunately, we have to dance around terms for heinous acts because the advertisers might get spooked.
Hi, Dr. Mike.
That was smooth. Hello.
He's got that wrist flowing. I'm actually a fan of your channel. I've been watching for a while.
Thank you.
Wow. Imagine being... What an insult to hear I'm such a big fan of your channel, Dr. Mike. By the way, I'm an anti-vaxxer. Okay. I'm an anti-vaxxer, Dr. Mike, but I'm also such a huge fan of yours. What a... They'd be like, wait, you're a fan of mine and you're still anti-vaccination? Wow, I have failed you. I have failed you as a content creator, if that's the case. Gosh. What a failure.
I am a pediatric hematology oncology nurse.
Wow, okay.
I think a lot of mistrust in my eyes were open.
Oh, wait, that's a doctor as well? Wait, she cannot be an anti-vax. She cannot be a skeptic. Come on.
Hematology oncology nurse.
Wow.
And I've been watching for a while.
Thank you.
I am a pediatric hematology oncology nurse.
Wow, okay.
Wait, hold on. That's important. Okay, this cannot be okay, now that explains it. Okay, I get it. Some not anti-vaxxer have slipped in, I guess. You see what's gonna make the I'm not a... Yeah, I know. I know, Dr. Johns. That is actually what I was thinking, yeah. That is actually why I avoided saying the word. Oh. Yes. Dr. Johns gets me. Dr. Johns gets my psychology perfectly.
I think a lot of mistrust in my eyes were open during the whole COVID pandemic.
Why?
Institutions that were there, I used to be in the military, so when I was in the military, I signed my bodily autonomy away. If they told me to do something, I did it.
And thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
No, I say that in all seriousness because I think a lot of times that kind of becomes habit just to say thank you, but I really do mean that thank
I
you.
appreciate that. So, seeing...
I never mean my thank yous. Unless I thank you for a donation, then I mean it 100%, okay? Just so you know. But other than that, it's just a habit. There were a lot of nurses that went anti-vax during COVID. Wait, really? A lot of nurses went anti-vax during COVID. For a nurse to go anti-vax, that's so weird.
You know, how Dr. Fauci...
Okay, Dr. Johns, this is not that type of stream, okay? I think you're mistaking with some other streamer.
who was just pardoned, and that's a whole other discussion, seeing how like we were sold a bill of goods that we, the American tax dollars, paid for, while these pharmaceutical companies reaped millions and millions of profits on. And I think that caused the goalpost, oh, the vaccine, this mRNA vaccine, it's going to prevent the transmission of COVID, it's going to prevent you from getting it, and others, if you don't get this vaccine, you hate your grandmother, you're going to kill all these people, and you got to do your duty and get it. Well, you know what?
I mean, yeah. I hate to be that person, but yeah.
My grandmother got it, and she died. I saw her take her last breath.
I'm sorry.
And it's a very...
Oh, wow. Again, correlation died. Internet died. Sorry. Twitch died. I've lost Twitch. Sorry. Internet died for a second, so of course I've lost Twitch. How do I hate this. I hate this internet. It just keeps dying. It's going. It's been happening during the day as well. It's been happening today during the day. The internet just came and went. So it just died for 5 seconds. The internet just died for 5 seconds, and that was enough for Twitch to die, and I cannot reconnect. The commentary community. Yeah, my bestie was an AMT and had to limit how many calls she went on because so many of her colleagues wouldn't get the shot. Nah, nice. Is this whole thing is going to be an hour 30 minutes of Dr. Mike explaining that correlation does not equal causation? Is that how it is? Is that what it is? Like, I have a feeling that is exactly what it's gonna be. He's gonna take these people one by one. He's gonna say, oh, just because B happened right after A, it doesn't mean that A caused B, okay? It doesn't mean that the vaccine caused your grandma to die just because she died after the vaccine happened, okay? It is? God. I just took my evening meds. I must have killed your internet. True. Your medication has caused my internet to die. Like, I'm so pissed at this. I'm so angry at this. I don't even know what to do. Whatever, let's just continue. It is what it is. Complaining won't do anything for me. I'm using a cable. I'm not connected through Wi-Fi. Mabel might know, maybe. Thanks, Lucy. You just spoiled to us the whole video. You're welcome.
take their last breath and go on to whatever happens after.
Of course.
So when those seats, and it turns out the 6 feet of social distancing was not based on anything, how can you not expect people to question these higher institutions that are deemed to look out for the well-being of people and they don't?
It's a great question.
So just like with Black people who don't trust the government because based on the Tuskegee experiment in 1932, actually 40 years after that, the New York Times, they actually infected them with syphilis and they let them infect their families, their friends. It ran rampant. So how do you expect certain people when they've been burned by the government to...
Oh wow, there's been an accident in which a doctor, a dentist gave a painkiller to a patient and it paralyzed her face. I guess nobody should go to the dentist ever again. It's the logic that's on the display here. Have you tried turning it off and on back again? I mean, turning OBS off and on back again would work, but I would probably have to start the whole stream all over again.
All of a sudden, all right, well, I'll trust you now. Ultimately, it's people's choice. Just like if someone wants to refuse a treatment, we give them an AMA form against medical advice. I think it's all up to people's choice and their autonomy.
Oh, I hate this whole I cannot agree to a procedure thing. Because people use it to deny life-saving treatment to their kids because of their faith or something. We are, I don't even know which Jehovah's or whatever. We cannot have transfusions, and we're not gonna allow our child to have a transfusion, even if otherwise our child will die. I hate that so much. I have nothing but contempt for that.
There's a few topics that you touched that I think are really worth discussing.
Yeah, correlation does not equal causation being the main one. Once again.
First, bodily autonomy. I believe that, and that is the sole principle by which we practice medicine. Vaccines fall in a unique category because your decision on vaccinating your child and then sending them to school can impact other children in that school. So much like drinking and driving as an example, your choice to do that puts your life at risk, but it also puts others at risk. So we deem that as dangerous for the general public. This is why vaccines it becomes a little more complicated when we talk about autonomy. When it comes to our government, our mandates, pharmaceutical companies, there's absolutely reasons for distrust. I love that everyone in this room is a skeptic, and I encourage skepticism. I don't think anyone should just go into a doctor's office and say yes, 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 yes.
It is, Lucy, and they shouldn't just because that one event, and also stay away from dentists for the rest of their lives. Also, if you don't agree with a doctor, you know what you can get? There's this magical thing called getting a second opinion. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of getting a second opinion? You should try it sometime. It's a thing that's available, actually. Okay? When I first went to a doctor about my gender dysphoria thing, I got treated like crap, okay? I got treated like garbage. And I just went and got a second opinion, okay? To a person that did not treat me like garbage. That happened. It's embarrassing that this poor dude has to cuddle these people like kindergartners, true.
In fact, I love when my patients question me. I empower them to ask questions. Doctors sometimes get this attitude where they're like, oh, you Googled before coming here?
Dr. House MD was full of this.
Google search doesn't...
But Lucy, all doctors are in an evil cabal, true. My second opinion is, wait, hold on. Jesus is not your first opinion? Wow, okay. I see. You're going to hell, Jordan. If Jesus is your second opinion, you're going straight to hell.
Place my degree? No, that's not how we're supposed to be. What I get excited about is if you Googled and you have questions, now I know exactly the route I need to take to help you make a decision that's right for you and your family.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
How you doing?
Pleasure to meet you.
Yes, Root Scott. Good to meet you as well.
Love the jacket.
Thank you so much. So, I really want to talk to you about this claim.
For transphobic doctors out there, get out of here. I know. To be fair to House MD, he had to deal with the most of the world diseases imaginable. Oh no, I meant when he just went to because he also had a regular seeing hours when he just had to see regular patients that came to the clinic with very regular diseases. And he would often make snipes when somebody would say, oh, the symptoms are this or this. And he would say, you know what, if you wanted to be a doctor, you should have buckled up more at school. Or something like that, you know? Or he'd say, excellent diagnosis, sarcastically to a person.
Based on all of the other things that are causing disease, the chronic conditions that are in this country, all of the metabolic issues, and this is stemming from colonization. Putting smallpox blankets on indigenous cultures, sterilizing people in Puerto Rico, Honduras, all of these different things that have happened. And if you look at Africa, oh, by the way, Bill Gates did say something interesting. The next war will be fought with biological warfare. And I think that was raising eyebrows, especially when you look at the Kissinger report, right? For those of you who don't know about...
I mean, true, but people of minorities are not getting separate vaccines from everybody else. So you'll have to be in modern society, to be a vaccine skeptic, I guess you just have to conclude that the government is waging biological warfare against its own citizens en masse, which is a pretty interesting, I don't know, conclusion to come to. Oh, you know that one. Teeny tiny baby coffin market is gonna be booming soon. Yeah. I was actually thinking of that clip today. Yeah, I know that short. Yeah. And I've seen the episode as well. I'm not gonna play it because it's super, it'll super demonetize everything, but yes, indeed. Yep. We're thinking of that as well. Wow, me and Dr. Jones are on the same wavelength tonight. That is true.
The Kissinger report, it's all about pretty much reducing the population of the planet. So, I don't know.
Because the lady was like, House MD. Because the lady was like, the lady was like, oh yeah. House is like, oh, missed vaccination schedule. Yeah, because the pharmaceutical companies are just trying to make money off of me, and I'm not gonna take that. I'm not gonna fill their pockets with money. And I was like, you know what also is a booming business? Teeny tiny baby coffin market. It's like, that was really funny.
How you can make this claim and really defend vaccines in the nature and the world that we're living in, where we are actually going away from nature, and the further we get away from nature, the more diseases we will see.
Oh my God.
So, I'm very passionate.
Yeah, because nature is so disease-free, famously. I love how it's about population control and we're not breeding enough at the same time. True, it is.
About this, and
it's both of these things at the same time. Always.
I want to be able to have like a real discussion with you because, yes, you're a medical doctor, but...
True. You're part of the establishment. You're a doctor. I'm not going to be able to have a real discussion with you. And by real discussion, I mean you're not going to agree with me. If only you agreed with me, then we'd be having a real discussion as opposed to this fake discussion that we're having now because you're a doctor.
This is also a system that J.D. Rockefeller started, getting rid of all types of indigenous...
I mean, deporting people en masse from a country is actually an ironically population control. Just so you know.
practices, and this land is stolen land. So when we're not even honoring the source, when we're not honoring the land, the ancestors, ancestral intelligence, the real AI, when we're not even honoring these things.
What? What the fuck? What? What the hell does that mean? The real AI. The ancestral intelligence is the real AI. Wait, it's it's artificial? Hold on. Does this guy know what AI means? It's called artificial intelligence. Hold on.
The ancestors, ancestral intelligence, the real AI.
Ancestral intelligence, the real AI? What the hell is that? What? What the hell am I hearing? The ancestral intelligence is the real artificial intelligence. What? The hell does that mean? How am I supposed to respond to that? Yeah, the ancestral intelligence is the real procedural algorithm around here. Oh, the only discussions that matter are the ones I have on my Facebook groups. True. A very interesting conspiracy theory or not? Wait a minute. You telling me that corporations are not trying to get rich off of a big pandemic, that they've actually can also help embrace the true AI, ancestors intelligence. Oh my god, the ancestral intelligence is the real AI. Wow, god, like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I thought this would be much more dry. I thought it would be like, yeah, I don't like vaccines because, I don't know, I'm afraid of them. And Dr. Mike would be like, well, don't be afraid. They're good. Oh, well, I'm not sure. Okay. And I thought that would be like I thought there would be just 1 hour, 30 minutes of that, but ancestral intelligence being the real AI, I did not see that coming. Okay? This guy also probably believes that Jewish people are space aliens. Indigenous nation in the US is generally vaccinated faster than the rest of the country, often in defiance of policies the rest of the state. Vaccine talk always brings out the dingbangs. Apparently there's some reason why.
When we're not even honoring these things and we're just supposed to trust science. No, I trust my scientists.
Oh my god. We're just supposed to trust science when I just can trust ancestral intelligence, the real AI.
I trust Dr. Sebi. I trust Dr. Arasatham. I trust Dr. Yaki. Because
who are they? Like, what? He just throws out those names expecting that everybody will know who those people are. What the hell is that supposed to tell me? You just throw out a bunch of names and, yeah, I trust this guy. I trust John from around the corner. I trust Bill from the liquor store. I trust Mary from, I don't know. What? Okay, cool.
Is not for us. It's not built for people like me. It's not built for any of us. Because even the opioid crisis, we saw a lot of Caucasians suffering from that. So how can you sit here and say that this vaccine is killing people when this system is currently killing people? When we even have to have an administration that...
Wait, hold on. Dr. Mike never said that vaccination killed anybody.
Now, people when this Caucasian suffering from that. So how can you sit here and say that this vaccine is killing people when this system is...
He's not saying that. What? They mentioned, get your tinfoil hat on, Lucy, quickly.
Currently killing people. When we even have to have an administration that comes in now and says, "Ooh, we got to start looking at all of these different toxins in the food, in the medicine, in the soil." I don't think it's fair for us.
What does that have to do? What does lax? Wait, hold on. Okay, what does lax control on food standards, etc., have to do with science? Okay? What does that have to do with anything? That corporations want to cut costs and allow all sorts of crap into the food. Don't blame science, blame Trump that wants to loosen those regulations further, okay? That I think there were rules against pumping dump into the drinking water, and now the Trump administration wants to undo those regulations. So enjoy crap in your water, I guess. I guess that too is the fault of science. Look, Lucy, black germs are different from white ones. Yes, no water story eludes Lucy. True, I know. First, Trump wastes billions of gallons of water, but Trump will also ensure that the remaining water gets poisoned with poop. Trump's gonna make sure you're gonna drink poop with your water because of the loosened regulations.
And take this vaccine when we're already being forced to take polluted food.
When you say take this vaccine, which vaccine are you talking about?
Well, really all of them. It should be a choice because even when I
No, it should not be a choice, okay? Never. It's almost to the level of the Nazi lady during the Sam Cedar thing. How do I even begin with this?
was younger, I didn't take as many vaccines as the children have to take now. These children are sicker, they're going through more metabolic issues, they're having mental health issues, and now I don't think it's just the vaccine, it's the system that's perpetuating this type of lifestyle. Yes, that child who...
The lifestyle of Bill... Oh my god. Okay. I already ridiculed saying the gay lifestyle, okay? When people talk about the gay lifestyle, I already ridicule that. But when people start talking about the believing in science lifestyle, oh god, then I'm just... You've lost me completely, okay? That is a whole different level. The LGBT lifestyle, I already mocked that. But the believing in science lifestyle? That's... Wow.
was even in the hospital under those fluorescent lights. I'm not surprised that they had a seizure before because this is the
Why do you choose this evil lifestyle of believing doctors?
environment that is not conducive to life. This thing
I like not having polio, thank you very much. Do you like having lupus? The funniest thing is that a vast majority of anti-vaccination people are themselves vaccinated.
I'm wearing on my chest is called an ankh. Y'all replace this. Y'all replaced our cultures. This life representing thing, you replace it with death culture. This is not a healthcare system. It's a sick care system. And honestly, I cannot...
Oh my god. No. Healthcare systems are not in stark opposition with religion, okay? Like it's more like some religions try to obscure, stand in the way of people getting the treatments that they need.
sit here in good faith and not represent all of the people who have come before me.
Yeah, absolutely. I respect that. I came to the United States as an immigrant living.
Yeah, a nutcase should have been the response, but he cannot say that because that would have been detrimental to his case. But yeah, basically, you're a nutcase.
On welfare. So I got put into this same system that you're describing. It's a shitty system. The world is changing in ways that make our lives more unhealthy. We're eating more processed food. We're exposed to more chemicals, usually as a result of products that we actually enjoy. So when I complimented you on that great jacket, when someone wears a specific pretty strap on their Apple Watch, there's chemicals in there. There's forever chemicals in there. So for every amazing thing that we have in society, there's been drawbacks. The good part about our society is that we're constantly monitoring those drawbacks and are trying to create solutions for our own problems.
Well, yes and no, as evidenced by the fact that once again the Trump administration is trying to loosen the regulations on certain basic things like, you know, not contaminating the water that you drink. But apart from that, in theory, Dr. Mike is in fact correct.
So
I mean, the European Union, for as much as people crap on it has a lot of those regulations that people are super mad about, okay? But if you have a government that just decides, oh no, those regulations are crap and we should just get rid of them, then no, then the principle that he's talking about here just doesn't work then, okay? It's funny he cites the Ankh as Egyptians did, sense along with funny dog gods, true. My grandpa full of asbestos, my dad full of lead, me full of microplastics. I mean, yeah, that is true. I believe there was oh, never mind. But yes, microplastics are a big problem.
When I think about our current healthcare system, where I think it needs to do better is it needs to focus more on prevention rather than cures. Agree or disagree?
1,000%. Yes, sir.
Do you know how we can do that?
By vaccinating, you idiot. Which is something that you cannot say. But yes, vaccination is a prevention method, believe it or not.
Not through the vaccines, but one way we could do that is connecting more to nature.
Connecting more to nature, the most useless turn of phrase that I've ever heard. What, should I just go outside more and roll in the grass? Literally touch grass.
One way we could do that is making sure that we're not poisoning the food. One way we could do that is treating each other better with more respect and actually getting rid of these systems that are putting us against us, this divide and conquer, the media manipulation and all of this fear tactics that was pushed during this vaccine COVID mumbo jumbo. Yeah.
Vaccine COVID mumbo jumbo. Jesus Christ almighty. I'm Jewish and I'm saying that. Look at what this person has made me. You look at what this person has turned me to. Wow. Things are not good. They're pretty bad. But I'm reduced to this.
This was totally a...
Do you think we should do all of it?
Okay, sorry, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please
Thank you.
return to your
Uh-oh. Voted out. Wow. Wow. How did this guy get voted out? He was so cool. I like this guy. This guy is great. Best guy. He's gonna be the next person. Vote. Vote with your wallets. Vote with your, you know. That's right. The lessons that this guy is going to get out of this, of course, is first drink poo-poo water to improve immunity. Second, eat raw meat and get brain worms like RFK Jr. True. You should get closer to nature. I don't trust medicine because it's exploiting children. Wears a designer jacket most likely made by unpaid kids. Listen, at least those kids are closer to nature. Okay? They're hard earners. Okay? Yeah. That's right. Oh, my phone just died. Yeah, that's right. Heartless? No, I've got a lot of heart for the hard-working children of America and the world, for that matter. Don't worry. People are getting deported, and soon enough, children of America will be able to join the workforce as well. I cannot wait for the kids to join the mines. Okay? I cannot wait. So excited for the future. Also, the Heartless are in Kingdom Hearts. Race.
Hello. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
How are you? Pleasure to meet you.
Maybe we'll watch one, maximum of two more guys, and then we're gonna do some News, okay? I'm excited for the news. Are you?
You know, I'm Tom. I'm a
The children yearn for the mines and the fjords.
lieutenant from northern New Jersey.
Okay.
And
Wait, who is he?
I'm Tom. I'm a police lieutenant from
A
northern.
police lieutenant. Okay, that explains a lot. He does look a bit like Counterpoint. What a jab I just did. See? This is how you do a jab.
Jersey.
Okay.
And which
Wait, was Counterpoint an actual ex-police officer? Is he an ex-police officer? Anybody who knows, tell me in the chat. That is what we call a jab.
struck me about your statement about body autonomy and children.
Bodily
and the
autonomy.
COVID vaccination.
I mean, he was military. Was he? I'm gonna have to double check. Hello, Glitch Master. Hello, Incub. Welcome, all you wonderful, beautiful people, okay? And you are beautiful people. But what would make you even more beautiful and wonderful if you would consider donating? Because there are many ambitious goals that I wanna do, and I can only do it with your help. Also, like the stream. Those are the only two things that I'm begging you to do. Like the stream and donate. Okay? If you like what I do. If you like my super swag. Okay? Okay. Somebody just said in the comments to my new video that real direwolves were smaller than the direwolves in Game of Thrones, and that just left me disillusioned and bitter. Cop phrenology in action. Imagine a cop talking on bodily autonomy. Well, you know. I'm going to sleep now, since others are here to carry chat. Oh, Dr. Johns.
What would you say if I told you I had 3 daughters and my spouse and I had
Oh, wow. What would I say if you said that you had 3 daughters? I mean... okay, you've got 3 daughters. Cool. I guess what I would say is... cool.
differing
Good for you.
opinions on whether our children should be vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. And a judge orders that that vaccine be injected into my daughters.
Oh my god. Injected into my daughters. So dramatic. Jesus Christ. And the judge orders. I'm gonna use this tone more. And the judge orders that my daughters... No, that the vaccination gets injected into my daughters. Like, come on. Get over yourself. Dude. Get over yourself. I already hang out on stream all day with you. Well, I'm grateful, okay? I'm grateful for your presence, Dr. Johns. I appreciate you.
I'll give you a little bit of data first.
Okay.
And this was
Alright, data. Police data. I'm gonna give you a little bit of data.
part of my reasoning with the courts.
Okay.
Risk versus benefit, correct?
Oh! Is this the guy that doesn't understand how minimizing risk works? Is that the guy? Oh my god. I think before the next person, I'm gonna take a little bit of a dessert and I'm gonna eat it on stream. Okay? I'm gonna eat dessert on stream.
From 2018 to 2023, if we trust the CDC, their numbers say the most deadly thing for our children, the number one deadly thing, do you happen to know what it is?
Guns.
Accidents. Not
Guns?
necessarily to know what it is.
Guns.
Sleeping on the floor. Apparently the biggest amount of accidents happen in the bathroom. From what I've heard. I also have to sleep. Sorry, Lucy. Wow. And it's so early still as well in the United States of America. Well, maybe it's not that super early. Okay, never mind. It is a bit late, but it's before midnight. 10:07, that's super early. This guy is so insecure about something being injected in his daughters. Can you imagine he's feeling about migrants that coming to... Oh, true. True.
Accidents. Not necessarily guns, but accidents. Do you know what the number 2? And I'm going from children from 10 to 14 during the height of the pandemic.
Well, a little bit before that.
Getting the vaccine.
Pandemic as
A
well.
little bit before, so the numbers are a little bit bigger. The number 2 cause, suicide. Do you
Okay.
know where COVID is on that range of dangers?
Very low.
Very low. That population is about 21 million children in the United States between 2018 and 2023.
Wait. Accidents and suicide happens and therefore you should not be taking vaccines? I don't follow the logic here. I honestly don't follow the logic. You know how many people die of suicide? Therefore, you should never send your kids to the doctor. What? This is just stupid. I have to wake up at 6. Ah, that sucks. Good night, Greater Ain't.
There were about 4 to 7.
Also, 9th place is not that low, by the way. Just saying. It's still in the top 10.
Accidents, about 1,000 suicides. Do you know how many deaths there were from COVID?
No, not often.
Also, young people were not in the biggest danger range from COVID. Older people were with pre-existing conditions. And the worry was that if a child isn't vaccinated, they might get it, be fine, and then take it and spread it to the older people that are actually at bigger risk. Like my father died of COVID, okay? He was in the numbers of people that died of COVID. Like, this is so silly. Doctors never said COVID was measure said to kids. No, the people said the opposite. That kids were pretty, a lot more safe from COVID. The argument was that the elderly were the most, like, you know, the little kid would go visit grandpa or grandma and just give them COVID. True, school shootings were happening, so apparently don't go to school now. Stay and educate yourself. Stop! No, don't even make that argument, because in the US people say that unironically, okay? Stop. Okay, I'm gonna get the dessert now. Hold on. Oh my gosh, I'm back. Whew, how exciting. We haven't even gotten into the news and we're already doing so many exciting things with Dr. Mike. Dr. Microphone.
59. In New Jersey, where I'm from, the
Hot
height
dog.
of the pandemic, do you know how many deaths there were?
Full of
0. Now, are
Full
you
of
familiar
chemicals.
with the VAERS database?
Yes,
So that's for adverse reactions to vaccinations.
yes.
During that time frame, this is about 6 months out of that period of time, from December of 2020 to July of 2021. The VAERS database, which is the only database we have, there were 14,000 post-COVID vaccination deaths. So how, if you're looking at risk towards benefit, is injecting a child, upholding what we call the Hippocratic Oath, right? We talk about the Hippocratic Oath and we extrapolate from that. One of the first things, it's not said in the Hippocratic Oath, but it's the first thing.
This is so silly. We're just gonna hear about the infection of the older people, etc. This is so stupid. What a stupid argument. Okay, Lucy, then. Apparently you already know that Westerners also think that the only thing that can stop bad kids with a gun is a good kid with a gun. True. I do know that. True. Oh my gosh. Like my friend, again, I'm gonna advertise her channel. My friend who has a YouTube channel, she made a comprehensive comparison of adverse effects of vaccines of various types compared to the adverse effects of not taking the vaccination at all. And oh my God, it's not even a contest. And she went through the most extreme cases, okay? She went through the cases of vaccination that caused brain damage, etc. And the percentage was so low compared to the negative effects of not taking the vaccine at all. It's not even funny. It's not even close. It's not, no. No. It's not even close. Not even close.
Is to do no harm. Now, as a police officer, I took oath as well. Protect, serve, preserve life and property. In my line of work,
Sure, yeah, that's exactly what police officers do in the U.S. Protect and serve. Mm-hmm. Sure.
times when I had to take a life to save one. I don't necessarily think that applies to you, Doctor.
It does not.
Maybe you can give your viewpoint, whether maybe you're for or against, a court ordering the children to be injected with something that there is no harm to. But now we're seeing actual harm with the vaccine. They didn't die from the disease. They're dying from the vaccine.
Can you
Yeah,
establish
so-
that?
Your point is very logical, and you're very
Also, you do have to establish that the death was caused by the vaccine again.
well researched, and I applaud that because most people will go off their feelings as opposed to looking at the data as you did. So I appreciate that. When you point out that there's been 69 deaths, you said,
Correct. Between
from the
that
CDC
time,
data,
if we trust it.
if we
yeah.
trust it. And then there was 13,000, 14,000 deaths?
14,000 according to the VAERS
VAERS
database.
Are you familiar with how the VAERS database works?
I am.
Do you know who can report to the VAERS database?
It's a
Anyone?
voluntary
Uh-oh.
report system,
By
so
who?
it's open.
By
It's
who?
open, either to patients, medical providers.
Loved
anyone.
ones, anyone. During a heated political time, during which people are very angry and are reporting things that do happen during a pandemic, isn't it possible that there's people reporting things that after we look at it and judge it off of the VAERS system, that it is in fact not shown to be causative but in fact a coincidence or correlation.
There you go. Again, we go back to correlation does not equal causation. This is going to be a whole thing, isn't it? Again, it's what I said. You have to actually establish that vaccine caused the death. I feel like a genius, even though I'm not. Okay? I'm super not a genius. As evidenced by the fact that I just smeared dessert all over my thing. Okay? I'm such a far cry from being a genius, but watching this, I feel like a genius, okay? I feel really, really smart watching this. But I'm not all that smart, okay? I'm an average Jane. I'm an average trans Jane, and yet I feel so smart saying, hey, you have to demonstrate that the vaccine actually caused those deaths or something.
Yes, I would say that correlation doesn't equal causation.
Whoa.
But I'll give you another data point to chew on. When I was a law enforcement officer, I saw people that were dying, and then when they were assessing the cause of death.
Wow. That sure is a data point, quote unquote. As a police officer, I saw the food. That sounds like a data point to me.
They had a range of other morbidities. And just because they died with COVID, they didn't die from COVID. But getting back to the children, none of them did.
I think
that has nothing to do with that has nothing to do with the argument. And that's not a talking point. That's called an anecdote.
The reason why 0 children died is because we immunized so many. A. B. The fact that the court ordered you to do it, it's not really my place to judge. Because you have 2 parents that have 2 decision-making capacities, and someone has to make a decision. I don't know what's right. I leave that to people who are smarter than me. I can talk about the science of it all. And when we look at the science, yes, COVID is a low-risk proposition for children, but it's not a 0 risk. When we look at the COVID vaccine, especially at the peak of that pandemic, when we were seeing hospitals overflooded, when we were losing people left and right, that was
exactly. My father died because he got COVID right before the vaccine rolled out. Okay, if he would have not gotten it a bit longer, he would have gotten the vaccine and he probably would be alive here, and I would not be in this room. Okay. Because I would not be in this house. It's just as simple as that.
Sole way out of that pandemic. So the fact that 0 children died with the vaccination rate that we had, I suspect that the vaccine played a major role in making that happen.
All right, I'm sorry, we're out of time.
I'd love to go with that one.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to the last person. It's gonna be fascinating. Dr. Mike is nice. I mean, it's nice to be nice, isn't it? Isn't it nice to be nice to people? I think it's nice.
My next claim is that vaccine-acquired immunity is better than natural immunity.
Yes, it is. It is. There are important reasons for that. I hope Dr. Mike will get into this. But when you get a disease, the natural way, quote unquote, the disease actually wrecks your overall immune system, okay? You get immunity for that specific thing, but you actually lose a lot of the immunity for other things. I'm giving you a very simplified version of this, but that is how that happens, okay? And with the vaccine, you only gain the immunity for the thing without sacrificing your immunity to all other things. So yeah, the whole natural immunity thing is BS. Of course, yes.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Mike.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
I
Pleasure.
want to say first that I'm a mother of 6 children. My oldest 2 children do have vaccines. My third child, he got a vaccine that the doctor said were safe that caused
Cool.
him brain issues for the rest of his life. And he has the rest
There you go. There you go. Again, first of all, we have to establish the causation. Second of all, the number of such cases of brain damage is very minuscule. There's data on this. There is data on this. It happens. It does happen, but it's exceedingly rare. It's extremely rare.
hydrocephalus. I want to continue to say my
Wait,
youngest
syphilis? Hold on. Wait, syphilis from
3 children for the rest of his life, and he has arrested hydrocephalus. I want to continue to say my youngest
syphilis?
3 children have no vaccines at all. They're perfectly fine. They're
Isn't syphilis? Hold on. I have to Google because I feel like a dummy now. Sexually transmitted infection. Am I missing something?
advanced. My son has permanent brain injury, so they say vaccine.
Wait, injury? How can a vaccine cause injury? Or did they have a really big needle and stab it straight in the brain?
Is better, but as a child, when I got vaccines, I ended up with spinal meningitis. I had chicken pox twice. I almost died. But my 3 children that don't have any vaccines are perfectly fine. They've been traveled over 20 states during COVID. They've never got COVID. They've never got sick. Just a healthy diet keeping them away from
Correlation equals causation, as always. If the parent has it, they can pass it to their kid.
toxic foods.
Wow. Are you saying that certain diseases can be contagious? No way, Jose. You're not saying that, are you?
Making sure their hygiene is good. Did you know that COVID has a patent and natural illnesses can't have patents? Did you know that every illness dated back to polio has a patent? The only thing that doesn't have a patent is the common cold. Did you know that Fauci funded medical schools to try to make the vaccine more, or not the vaccine, make COVID more deadly?
What?
Vaccine immunity, seem more, or not the vaccine, make COVID more dead. Funded medical schools to try to make the vaccine more, or not the vaccine, make COVID more deadly.
What do you want? What is this? Yes, of course. Yes, there was funding to make COVID more deadly. Yeah, of course. That totally happened. Of course.
Vaccine immunity is not really a thing because they cannot guarantee it makes anybody immune. There's more side effects from...
Okay, that is such a stupid thing to say. In that case, immunity is not a thing, period. Okay? Immunity just doesn't exist as a concept in that case.
getting a vaccine than to not get a vaccine. The chances of getting illness not vaccinated versus to getting vaccines is a lot higher than somebody that doesn't eat toxic crap, practices good hygiene. They're more likely to get...
Everybody said to practice good hygiene during COVID. Wash your hands. There was a whole Vietnamese song about washing your hands. These are not mutually exclusive. What? If you take the vaccine, you lose your ability to wash your hands or something? Is that the argument?
Illness, vaccinated versus not vaccinated. There's studies that show...
Is it either or?
Vaccinated children are more healthier. In Japan, they don't start their vaccine schedule, I believe, until 2 years old. Autism is almost non-existent. And this is something that
Oh
needs to be
God, that conspiracy theory.
documented. Dated back...
Also, autism is non-existent in Japan? Okay. I want to see. Oh. AI help. autism spectrum disorder is common in Japan, with a higher prevalence than many other countries. Whoops! Uh-oh. Wait, hold on. That lady just told me that Japan, that autism almost doesn't exist in Japan. Whoa. How common is autism in Japan? Japan is also known to have a higher rate of autism than other countries. Whoops. Wait, hold on. That's the opposite than what the lady has said. Prevalence of autism spectrum disorder among children in selected countries worldwide as of 2020. Hong Kong, South Korea, United States, Japan. What did the lady say? Hold on, what did that lady say again?
Autism is almost non-existent. They don't start their vaccine schedule, I believe, until 2 years old. Autism is almost non-existent.
Autism is almost non-existent in Japan, even though it's known to have a higher rate of it than many other countries. Okay, that makes sense.
And this is something that...
Amazing. The next 5 seconds. It took me seconds to Google this. Okay? It did not take me long to check this information. Okay, it's not secret. It's not hidden.
Needs to be documented. Dated back to polio. Everything has a patent except for the common cold. Mad cow disease, Spanish flu, COVID. Everything has a patent. So that leads me to believe Big Pharma has been ruining our people for generations since the Great Depression.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Since, like he said, Rockefeller agreed to fund medical schools and the education system around 1920s. Since then, illnesses have increased and increased and increased and increased and increased, and all we ever needed was to take care of ourselves and have good hygiene.
What the hell does that mean? All we had to do is take care of ourselves. I guess if you get ill, it just means that you don't take care of yourself enough.
Something I think our healthcare system doesn't do enough is say, I don't know. And I have no idea about Dr. Fauci's patents. I don't know about patents on viruses. I'm a family medicine physician. That means I work in a clinic where people come in with either an acute complaint, something's going on with them.
Rockefeller's created autism? Yes.
Or they're coming in for a preventive physical where we can get ahead of things and make them healthier by preventing illness. In fact, if you think about where pharma's profits are, if pharma had to choose between preventing an illness or to treat an illness for the rest of someone's life, financially speaking, they'd probably want to just treat someone for the rest of their life.
Exactly.
But that's not what vaccines are. Vaccines prevent that illness. They prevent it from happening. And when you brought up the subject of...
my guy. It causes brain damage, okay?
Autism, I think it's an important subject, and it's a subject that's been largely debunked by the entire world community.
Yeah, it's been debunked right after that whole medical journal article was written. Soon after, it was debunked. Time and time and time again.
Not at all. I've seen studies that say otherwise, doctor. So I don't know if you're going off Rockefeller's medicine or are you going off of...
Rockefeller's medicine? Doctors from all over the globe has debunked this.
Holistic medicine as well. As a scientific mind, you're supposed to observe everybody's hypothesis, not just Rockefeller's medical schools. And
Rockefeller.
that's why I feel like you've got most of your knowledge from, and maybe you should branch out into holistic medicine because vaccines have never been the answer. They were created to separate us from spirituality and consciousness. If you look at the ingredients...
Oh my God. Good luck, Dr. Mike. Godspeed.
There's nothing healthy in vaccines. Formaldehyde, all types of stuff. So none of that prevents. Everybody got vaccines, still get illnesses. I've never seen any prevention of anything.
The prevention.
Did you know that a door and lock does not prevent anyone from getting into your apartment or house? Because burglaries happen, break-ins happen, which means that doors are just useless and you should get rid of them. Thank you. That makes perfect sense. True AI. True. Kiskara.
From vaccines comes from prevention of death and serious illness. And we've seen that when you study that, not just in the US by the Rockefeller system that you described, one of the largest studies in the world surrounding vaccines and autism in children came from Denmark with over 500,000 children. That is not a US system, that is not a capitalist system, and they found that there is no pattern.
That's not true.
Wait, I mean, I'm pretty sure Denmark has capitalism, but that's neither here nor there, okay? I'm pretty sure that it's still a capitalism, whatever.
I'm trying to branch out as much as possible.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Okay.
Please
Thank you so
return to your
much.
seat.
Okay, I've had enough, I think. I think we've had enough. Or you vote in the chat, okay? I'm gonna give you a few minutes to collect your bearings, and I'm gonna let you, I don't know. I'm gonna let you choose if you want to continue this a little bit further, or should I move on to something else? I'm an audience person like this, okay? I'm an audience-oriented streamer. More people should like this stream. Dr. John's left and now there's nobody. Glitch, Masta, and Incub they're not carrying the chat. They're not taking their responsibility seriously. True AI. Oh, it disappeared. Oh, German Shepherds. Food shops. Oh my gosh, food shops is live. Oh, food shops has stopped using the whatever avatar. That's cool. Look, food shops is now like ready. Food shop is ready. No? No one? Nobody's ready to tell me if they want to continue Dr. Mike or not? Oh, I'm so tired. I've been so tired lately. It's not a good thing. It is not a good thing to be so tired as I am. It is not natural. Oh. Hold up. I'm gonna do one or two more topics and then we're gonna take a rest. Wow. What happened here? Eat more fruit and ask the true what to do. I ate grapes first of all during this stream. Second of all, okay, we're going to a different thing, okay? I've decided for you. You don't want to be the masters of your own fate. It seems you don't deserve. You don't deserve to decide your own fates. The internet only died once tonight, but that was enough to kill. Well, that's ironic. I said that the internet died only once tonight, and just as I said it, the internet died. I guess I got punished for my hubris. Well, okay. That happened. Yeah, the irony is real. Alright, let's go to the news. Your tempted fate. I know I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that. How ironic my life is. Your tempted fate. You just had to do it. Alright, we're gonna be talking about Chinese nationals, okay, as well. New spring offensive, Kharkiv. The internet got angry. Everybody's angry at me. Please like the stream. Okay, we're gonna... Actually, Russia got hurt by the tariffs a little bit with the oil thing, but it's neither here nor there. We've got an interesting article to look at, okay? We're gonna read about it. MSN.com. Chinese fighters. What the capture of Chinese soldiers say about Beijing's role in Ukraine. Okay. So as we know, recently Zelensky has announced that 2 Chinese combatants, soldiers, have been captured, that their documents, bank cards, etc. have signified that it's Chinese soldiers fighting against Ukraine on the side of Russia. And it has created a lot of questions. I can see now this headline saying over 160 Chinese nationals fight for Russia in Ukraine. Obtained documents show. We're gonna take a quick look at this. At least 163 Chinese nationals are serving in Russia's armed forces as of early April, according to a Ukrainian intelligence document seen by the Kyiv Independent on April 9th. Okay. Another document showed photos and passport details of 13 Chinese recruits who are being selected for service in the Russian army as of April 2nd. Of course, this also in itself raises questions. Why would those people have those documents on them, right? Why would those people have all those documents that would identify them as Chinese citizens? That is one of the questions that automatically come to mind. Like, why would they have all that stuff on them when captured, right? There are 155 Chinese citizens who are fighting against Ukrainians on the territory of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed this information to journalists on April 9th. We're just getting our facts straight right now. We're just gathering information. We're just trying to get to know what's going on. And then we'll be able to talk hypotheses. We're going to be able to talk scenarios as to why those soldiers are there, how the Chinese government is possibly involved, and all that good stuff. But for now, we're just getting information. At least 163 Chinese nationals got it. 13 passport details selected as for service. 55 Chinese citizens who are fighting against Ukrainians on the territory of Ukraine, Zelensky confirmed. So far, so good. We are collecting information. We believe that there are many more. For these 155, there is passport data, where they are from, their Chinese documents, age, etc. Zelensky added. According to Zelensky, Chinese soldiers had been serving with Russia's 70th Separate Guards Motor Rifle Brigade, the 255th Rifle Division, and others. Okay. A day before President Volodymyr Zelensky, I opened the segment with that. A day before President Volodymyr Zelensky announced the capture of 2 Chinese citizens fighting for Russia in eastern Donetsk Oblast, the group of 6 Chinese nationals clashed with Ukrainian forces, and 2 are now being held by the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, he said. The documents obtained by the Kyiv Independent list the names, personal data, place of service, and position in the Russian army of other Chinese nationals. The captured Chinese soldiers have been identified as Wang Guanjun and Zhang Zhenbo, born in 1991 and 1998, respectively, a source told the Kyiv Independent. Wang Jun was captured near Bogorivka, Donetsk Oblast, while Renbo was captured near Tarasivka further north. One of the captured soldiers claimed he paid 300,000 rubles, $3,000 to a middleman in China to join the Russian military in exchange for the promise of citizenship. Ukraine's Luhansk military unit press service told Ukraine Pravda earlier in the day. Beijing knows about this. Russians distribute advertising videos about recruitment through Chinese social networks. So that is one possible explanation of why there are Chinese soldiers on Ukrainian territory. One very possible explanation. But there are more. Now let's go to that other article, okay? We've gathered the facts. Now let's go here. Okay? The Chinese prisoner has a fearful expression, has his Ukrainian captors train a video camera on him. He speaks in Mandarin. He speaks in Mandarin, the common language of his homeland. Well, okay, Mandarin is not really the common language of China. There are actually many, many dialects of Chinese which wildly different one from the other, but let's just agree that Mandarin is pretty common and accepted. But saying that it's like a common language for the homeland is not exactly accurate. I feel like a nitpicker, but this has to be said, even though it has nothing to do with the argumentation of the article itself. His green uniform is like any regular soldiers, but is it proof that China is fighting alongside the Russian army? That in itself is not. that in itself is actually not evidence that the Chinese government is directly supporting Russia by sending troops. Just to be clear. Like, the case of North Korea is far more clear cut, okay? The case of North Korea is far more obvious. This is a hybrid war, and while China has not disputed the facts, the boundaries of truth are cloaked in deniability. The incident, assertedly publicized by Ukraine just as America is in a trade showdown with China, has illuminated the shadows of a very modern conflict. President Volodymyr Zelensky said his troops captured 2 Chinese citizens after a skirmish in the Donetsk region of eastern Ukraine. They found identity documents, bank cards, and other evidence of their nationality. In most armies, that would be a severe security lapse. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, why bank cards? That baffles me the most, that the captured soldiers had bank cards on them. What is the purpose of carrying a bank card with you to the front line? Zelensky said his men engaged with a unit of 6 Chinese combatants. The fate of the other 4 was not mentioned. Andriy Kovalenko, a member of the National Security and Defense Council, called the captured fighters mercenaries, but gave no more information. So basically, mercenaries would mean that they came to fight for Russia independently of the Chinese state. That would be the implication here. If they were mercenaries, that they were working independently of China. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be the assumption? One explanation is that the men are simply soldiers of fortune who caught a plane to Russia to escape boredom and penury at home, or to gain the citizenship. That was also one of the floated hypotheses. Just days ago, the correspondent of Le Monde in China, the highly experienced Harold Tribolt, published an interview with a 37-year-old truck driver named Fen, who went to seek adventure until he was wounded by a drone. Jesus Christ. If you're bored, there are different ways to, I don't know, deal with that. I feel like there are better ways, there are better first choices to dealing with boredom than just deciding, okay, I'm just gonna enlist with a foreign army and go to war. Don't you think? But I guess different strokes for different folks. I guess for some people, certain things are just not enough. They need certain amount of thrill that regular activities that just cannot give you. Back in China, sipping tea, he told Tribold that he did not care about the rights and wrongs of the war. Oh, yeah, he just went there for the thrill, I guess. A search of a popular Chinese social media app, Douyin, revealed 40 accounts of men who had joined the Russian forces. Fans said there were hundreds. It is plausible that there are tens of thousands of trained soldiers hanging around in civilian life with not much to do. President Xi Jinping has spent heavily to modernize the People's Liberation Army, PLA, but he has also ruthlessly thinned its ranks. It is a leaner force with less manpower and more warfighting technology. So it's less about the numbers and more about the quality, which ironically enough is the opposite of Russia. Russia is all about the numbers, swarming the enemy with its special contingents, but its equipment is not the highest standard. True. in War and Peace. That lends weight to a second explanation, which is that Chinese military intelligence is using mercenaries to collect battlefield information on tactics and weapon systems that the PLA wants. It has not fought a conventional ground war since 1979, when the paramount leader Deng Xiaoping ordered an invasion of Vietnam, which ended in a fiasco. It ended in a fiasco, but not exactly. The war with Vietnam is a little bit more complicated than that. It actually is a lot more complicated than that. It didn't just end in a fiasco, but I'm not gonna get into that. So real-time observation in combat is priceless. The campaign in Ukraine, with its reliance on drones, cruise missiles, air defenses, tracking and interception, is a model for the sort of war fighting the PLA would experience in an invasion of Taiwan. Well, also, the invasion of Taiwan would include things that the invasion of Ukraine does not. And that is, well, getting to the island, dropships, getting the troops to the island via transportation ships, which was not a problem for Russia because Russia is just directly connected to Ukraine by land. So there are certain parameters that would go into a war of China with Taiwan that just don't exist in the war between Ukraine and Russia. In addition, battlefield conditions yield performance assessments which the Russians might prefer to keep secret even from their supposed friends. And it is clear from Zelensky's statement that the 6 Chinese combatants were operating as an organized unit, presumably including Russian speakers for communications and perhaps eavesdropping. Well, interesting. I know that this sort of thing happens on the side of Ukraine as well. I know that there's a lot of experimentation happening. A lot of new ground is being broken. For example, medics that go to Ukraine from Poland, volunteer medics that go to the front line from Poland, usually spending their own money to go there to buy medical supplies to help soldiers take their experiences from the battlefield in Ukraine and take it back to Poland, which creates this feedback loop where Poland is creating new medical facilities based on how field medicine is practiced in warfare. And based on that, Poland has started training Ukrainian soldiers so that they can do basic medical things, basic medical treatment to themselves or their colleagues on the spot when there is not a medic available. This became a harsh necessity of the war. Soldiers, just regular soldiers, being able to do certain basic medical procedures. Because there's just not always soldiers available. There's just not always medics available to stabilize a person. So soldiers need to have certain basic skills of their own when it comes to this. And of course, there is the whole testing how weapon system work, drone warfare. That information is conveyed back to the West. The West is learning a whole lot during this war. China has supplied the Kremlin with significant quantities of machine tools, drone and turbojet engines, and technology for cruise missiles, microelectronics, and not nitrocellulose, which is used in rocket fuel, U.S. officials in the Joe Biden administration said in April 2024. A third and less subtle explanation is simply that China is staging a brazen, barely covered intervention in the war. It has history on this. A U.S. diplomat in Beijing once told me that sometimes Chinese strategy is as subtle as the ancient arts of war taught by Sun Tzu, but sometimes it's a kick in the face. Okay? In the Korean War of 1950 to 1933, the Chinese intervention there was quite direct and blatant. And if it wasn't for that Chinese intervention, the South would most probably have won. Then again, that happened because of the US intervention, but that's neither here nor there, okay? The US supported the South. They pushed the North all the way near the Chinese border. China said, oh, no, and then supported the North and pushed the South back, and we are where we are, okay? It led to the whole stalemate, and technically speaking, we are to this day operating on that stalemate. So Korean War, 1950, 1953, Mao Zedong sent hundreds of thousands of volunteers, quote unquote, to fight American, British, and other forces under the United Nations flag, who were defending capitalist South Korea. Among the mass casualties was Mao's own son. China also sent covert aid to North Vietnam and to Viet Cong guerrillas in South Vietnam, helped the Khmer Rouge take over Cambodia, and waged a twilight struggle against both the Soviet Union and the West across Indochina until then called a halt to Cold War adventurism at the end of the 1970s. Its leaders are well schooled in complexity and state deceit, so they will have been unworried when the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha summoned China's charge d'affaires to Kiev, to condemn this fact and demand an explanation. I mean, what exactly? This is very symbolic, in my opinion. I'm not sure what sort of explanation is expected of China. China is verifying the information with the Ukrainian side. A spokesperson for China's foreign ministry, Ling Jian, told reporters, "Let me stress that the Chinese government always asks Chinese nationals to stay away from areas of armed conflict, avoid any form of involvement in armed conflict, and in particular avoid participation in any party's military operations." I mean, that is a thing that any country will say, although other countries will also say avoid going there for tourist reasons. But yeah, what other response would you expect from China, even if it was true that China was covertly sending troops to fight on Russia's side? What would an official, a representative of China say? Yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, of course. Of course we're sending troops. Of course we're doing this volunteer thing. Of course. What do you mean? From news to politics, travel to sport, culture to climate, The Independent has a host of free newsletters to suit your interests. But yes, free big hypothesis. We have no clue which is the most probable. The Chinese soldiers could be just independent people that have decided to go there out of boredom. It could be the allure of gaining the Russian citizenship, although I'm not exactly sure what that allure is supposed to be. All things considered, considering the Russian economy and how Russia treats its immigrants once they actually arrive in Russia. But it could be that China is sending soldiers to gather information directly from the front to get back to China. And it could also be that, similar to the Korean War, they're sending volunteers to bolster the ranks of Russia. Which hypothesis you subscribe to, I leave to you. I guess we will have to see and wait how this story develops, because I'm pretty sure we will be seeing and hearing updates to this soon. I'm pretty sure that this is not just a one-off. I'm pretty sure that this story will develop, and once we know more, we will be able to talk more. We'll be able to make more broader statements, but I actually thought that this was worth at least a mention. I thought it would be a good idea to at least speak about this briefly. So you just kept in the loop. Alright, this has been a nice stream. I've been streaming for 2 hours, which means that overall today I've been streaming for at least 8 hours. I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow. I'm gonna do a bit more, and I'm gonna see you all soon-ish. Hope you enjoy. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope I'll see you tomorrow. Edit. I'm gonna raid you into, I guess, my favorite content creator, VegCom. Alright, I'll see you. Bye bye. Finish.